Today on the show, I am joined by Carly Rosenthal from MooseCat Recording and the band Carly in the Universe. Carly's journey through the music industry is a captivating blend of artistry and entrepreneurship, seamlessly transitioning between being a frontwoman on stage and the co-captain of a recording studio. She's honed a unique approach to building her network in the music industry with no prior contacts, and it continues to pay off to this day. We dive into her band's distinctive sound, the art of balancing performance and studio ownership, and the intriguing secrets behind her successful collaboration with her bandmate, business partner, and husband, Mike. I think you'll learn a lot from her story, and I hope you enjoy learning from her as much as I did. Hey, Carly, good morning, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me on the podcast. I'm really excited to get to talk with you, specifically a little backstory. We take Italian together. It hasn't been that long, but I've been taking Italian for, almost 2 years, and you joined the class that I'm in, and, we've never met in person. We've always been on this sort of, Zoom online kind of set platform, but just listening to you in class and hearing, getting to know, each other and students and classmates and stuff, I thought you had a really cool story. And then when I looked at your social channels and read a little more about your bio and just hearing stories you tell in class, I just wanted to get you on here to talk to you. So thank you again for the time today.
Joe, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And love Italian, love the culture, love trying to songwrite in Italian. So hopefully I get good enough that I can actually write some cool music.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, exactly. So we're all trying to learn Italian on this in our class, right? But like for you, like I, tend to start in the beginning with people, and we talked a little offline about both of our backgrounds and upbringings, and I kind of fell into a musical stage of my life, but in my early 20s, it wasn't like I was raised playing instruments or anything like that. And it sounds like you weren't really either, but I mean, in the beginning, I guess I idolized certain performers or something, Michael Jackson or something, right? When I was little, that I would kind of, it always stuck with me. Not that I'm a singer or anything, but, like stuck with me in the sense of there are certain things that I can, sort of look back to and say, okay, this is where I had some interest in this. And, for you, it could be entrepreneurial, it could be music performing, whatever it might be. It could be your parents. Like, were there any things that maybe gave you some sort of a interest in music, or just pivotal moments that maybe helped you kind of shape? And I want to be starting a business, a recording studio like you have.
So growing up, I guess my parents are entrepreneurs. So I definitely had their I always saw their work ethic and, what they did. And that definitely rubbed off on me. And so I definitely can attribute my entrepreneurial experience to how they raised me. But they're not musicians at all. And my brother, he's not a musician either. So the music and the creativity was definitely my own plane in my family, and that was definitely something that I was navigating myself. I don't know, I was obsessed with singing as a kid, and I wouldn't shut up, so my parents decided to throw me in some singing lessons, and that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's funny because like my sister, same difference. We weren't really raised musically per se, but she kind of got into music in her 20s, and now her husband is like a recording, producer engineer out in Nevada. So you do kind of fall into these things at some point, sometimes, right? And when you're around creative people and in creative environments, like we are in California. But speaking of Italy, you spent some time in Italy, right, with your parents. I believe you said they may have worked there at some point.
Yes, my dad and my brother stayed back. My mom was learning. Both my parents are OBGYNs, gynecologists, And my mom wanted to learn some new surgical techniques, and Italy was kind of pioneering these techniques. So I went with my mom to Rome for a year for her to learn the techniques, and I ended up going to school there and just, fell in love with the culture, fell in love with the food, obviously. From there, I've kind of just tried to keep up with the Italian, and I to this day I have some best friends out there, and try to go back when I can.
Yeah, don't we all? Like, I was there this summer. I can't wait to get back. It's a amazing place, no matter where you go, in my opinion. So like your parents obviously had this, entrepreneurial, background that could have, potentially rubbed off on you. But like in terms of like the industry of music, being a performer, co-owning a studio that you have, like was there something like a mentor, an event, or a specific moment that maybe ignited that passion? Maybe it was your business partner, you two brainstorming, not even like how did the whole idea of like MooseCat Recording come into play?
So I graduated college early, and the second I graduated, I just said, I want to be in a band. And so I went to college in Boulder, Colorado. And so I tried with a couple groups out there to get some stuff started. And, I just knew that I was going to come back to LA anyways and try to build up a group of musicians out here. So I met Mike through a mutual friend, and initially he wasn't in, or no, yeah, initially, like the very first time, he wasn't in my band, his friend was. Mike is also like a producer engineer, so he decided to join Carly in the Universe, and he's pretty much been pioneering, producing, and engineering our project. And Cameron Clark, who's our drummer in the band, I've known him since high school, and you know, tried to like elbow him multiple times, being like, you should be the drummer in my band. You should be the drummer in my band. And finally suckered him into it.
Yeah.
So from that, we started this project. Mike and I are a couple. We just got married this past year. So we decided when we moved into a place that we wanted to have a place to record our band. But because he's an engineer and producer, and he was working at other studios at the time, he's working at Red Rockets Glare with Raymond Richards, who's worked on like Mandy Moore, She and Him, Local Natives, and Mike worked on those projects as well. We decided that we were gonna open up a recording studio, and MooseCat was born. He's Mikey Moose. I'm Carly Cat. So we were like, are we really going to call it MooseCat? And yeah, we are.
And I
And we did.
totally, yeah, and I want to jump into like your band, like the Carly in the Universe later on in this. I have a bunch of questions there, but that's a wild story. Like but like even just like reading your bio, it'll say like, oh, you guys have event planning, you have A&R, like there's a lot of like sort of hats you wear at MooseCat. Like how, like you went to school in Boulder, right? We talked about your upbringing, came back to LA. Like, where did you pick up like this sort of multifaceted skill set, and like how did you sort of bring them into MooseCat?
Before I worked at MooseCat full time, and same with Mike, we worked at other companies because, a business doesn't make money overnight, and you have to work I would say this to anybody who's looking to start a business, like have another income coming in and work your way towards making your business be your full income. So that's what we did. I worked a lot in music publishing for a lot of other companies and like tech startups in the music space. And I would say, when I first started out in sync and music licensing, I was pre-pandemic. I've been working remotely for years, and my boss was very hands off, and my education was not in the music industry or the music business. Obviously I loved music, but that's not what I have a degree in. So when I started working for my boss, I just felt in order for me to do my sales or my marketing or my business development properly, like I needed to know about the music business and know about the music industry. So honestly, I would go have these meetings with music supervisors and just say, I know nothing, please educate me. And I would just go to these lunches with all these great people in the industry, and they would just kind of check in from time to time and, you know, see if the stepping stones were falling into place. And from there, I kind of was able to, not be afraid of the contracts and not be afraid of the negotiations and actually sit down and read and understand all the all the deal points in a contract and that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And like to just kind of like take the initiative to say, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to go out and reach out to people and ask them to go to coffee or lunch or whatever and, you know, pick their brains or just kind of like putting yourself out there, which I think is a huge thing that people may not realize. It sounds like, oh, that's how deals used to get done back in whatever time, handshakes and but there really is like a crucial element, I think, to being in front of someone, sitting down, talking to them, asking for help, just saying like, look, you're the expert. I'm the novice at this point, but I want to get to where you are. I want to absorb whatever knowledge I can from you, and can you help me? And I think that people are a little too afraid, or they think that doesn't work anymore. But I think that's still a good method for people out there that are listening that might say, "Oh, I don't know anyone." We're like, "Well, you didn't know anyone, right? So you just went and met them."
Right. And also, you don't know what you don't know. And I knew that I knew nothing about the music industry. And I would say, the obviously the internet has changed and we have a lot more access to this type of information online, and that's a good place to start. But even if you're looking up online how to get a distribution deal and not what a distribution deal is, like, is that information online? Can you really find like the questions to your answers? Are you fully understanding, getting a full scope of what you're looking to find, So instead, you could go on LinkedIn and find somebody that works in music distribution and say, "Hey, can I buy you lunch and can you tell me everything that I need to know?"
Yeah, you're like going right to the source, which I'm telling you, the more people I talk to lately, it feels like they think, oh, they just feel like they can't do that, or that's just something you don't do anymore. And I feel like that's such a vital part of getting yourself out there and becoming known in that world that you want to work in. There's no other way. I mean, you can, go to conventions or things like that, but just sitting down one on one with someone, I think is just it's just too hard to put into words how important that is. And at MooseCat, right? Like you guys, you develop artists, you create artists, you manage them, music, you deliver marketing materials. Of all the things that you're doing for the artists, what in their creative journey, what's like the most rewarding part of assisting these people, or like maybe you have a story about of one, or just the practice in general?
My company, like as far as like our sync licensing or that type of stuff that we do, we're very artist friendly. We're not exclusive. If an artist gets like a big record label deal, we're not going to pigeonhole them into our contract. Like, we want the artists to, succeed in their career and like make a career out of their music. So that's been like the funnest part for me is, meeting artists who really don't know anything about the music industry and being the person that can kind of at least help navigate some points to further their career and what they want to do. I mean, we do have a lot of like interns that internship with us as well. And, a lot of them come in wanting to be engineers and producers in the studio. But then they work with me and they want to work on the, more on the business side of things and see that that might be a better fit for them in the industry. So I love helping artists navigate their careers and not get screwed over by contracts, and just making sure that we're looking out for the artists, because the artists don't have unions and they're very underpaid. And even how music supervisors in some parts of the industry work is very cutthroat. And the film industry, while they work with the music industry hand in hand, is a bit cutthroat with musicians and compensation and that type of stuff. So definitely am on the side of, not cheaping out artists' music as well, and making sure that, they're valued for what they do.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably a really, for an artist that's just coming out here, or maybe they're, whatever, they're from here and they're just kind of getting started, to have someone in their corner that has the experience that you have, and Mike, together collectively, to sort of help guide and shape their careers. But then they also know, like, okay, they're not going to sit here and tie me to some deal that, oh, I got this other opportunity. Like, you want to see these people flourish and you want to see them do well. And if you can become a small or a large part of that, then your job is done. I'm assuming, right? Like the two of you, right? You're like, okay, hey, you guys, put this whole, like, this company together, but it's so artist friendly and artist centric, because you're both performers too. I'm assuming that might tie into some of that as well, and maybe that feeds off onto the people you're working with.
Definitely. That I agree with that. And, the I just want to make sure that they're, artists spend a lot of money like recording their records and putting together their content for everybody to see. So I just want to make sure that they're, you know, on a path to success.
Exactly, exactly, and like, and you and Mike, you did mention the fact that you're married, right? You're also in the same band. You have the studio together. I think that that's probably also, a positive for artists coming in and being like, okay, these people are like literally married. They're business. They're in a relationship. Like, it's a very, like, trusting environment. Like, okay, being in a band, having a business partner that's also in your band, also your husband. Like, how do you two manage the dynamics of doing all of that? Like, are there any, like, insights you can share? How your relationship maybe, like, shapes the creative and the business endeavors, sometimes even when they're colliding together on the same day.
Yeah, we're actually very clear about the roles that we both take in both Carly the Universe and MooseCat Recording. Obviously sometimes we fight about what that is and who has to do what. But, you know, for how right now we're in a great position now, in that we are scaling our business and we're trying to automate and streamline and create a lot of manuals for the work that we do so we can onboard more people. But Mike handles the accounting, he handles the production, the engineering, the mixing, the mastering, the invoices, a lot of like the day-to-day interactions with the clients. I handle the marketing, sales, business development. We do events here. We just had an event this past summer. It was all music industry people. We had Liquid Death, Angel City Brewery, G Fuel, Korg, One More headphones, that I'm wearing right now. They're like designed by Maserati or something.
Oh.
And we had, who else we have? We had, did I say G Fuel? We had Old Pal. They're like a weed company. Bunch of sponsors, Viper Guitars, Black Star, and it was an opportunity for us to, give back to the artists, in that we want the artists that come record with us and sign with us to also meet like the music supervisors and the A&R and the managers and the labels that we work with, and try to, bridge the gap for indie artists to network with those people. So that's kind of the goal of the event, is just to try to build a bit more community within MooseCat indie artists, to direct people at Disney or red light management or that type of thing.
Okay, so not so was there, like, performances too, or was it more just networking, like, not a showcase?
No performances. I think at some point I'll probably do a different event that showcases artists that are signed to us and is like a little bit music supervisor oriented and that type of thing, but haven't gotten there yet. That's something I definitely am gonna work towards. But like with this event, we do put a lot of eggs in this basket for this event, and that might be changing because I cook for the event and I cook about 1,000 pounds of food for, 300 people. So not sure how we're going to go about doing that in the future. We've been doing, we haven't done an event since COVID. So that was like our first event back. And actually now we're building out a second location that's going to have like an Atmos mixing facility. And that's kind of what I'm handling now, is building a studio for as cheaply as possible, just to make sure that we can hire the team that comes in, and spending less on the build of the studio compared to like our first studio. So like last week I found a hotel that was going out of business, that was getting rid of a bunch of headboards, but these headboards are like fabric headboards, and they're very nice, and it was like 50 headboards. But I was like, these would be perfect for sound panels in the
Mm.
studio. So I went and picked up like 20 of them, and they're perfect. And so we're going to be, installing those next week, and we didn't have to spend any money on sound panels.
That's very thinking outside of the box, like, and the event sounds like, just the way you put that on sounds really cool, because you create this sort of like family environment. Like, and I don't mean that like a cheesy way, but like, you're creating an environment where everyone feels connected. They, a lot of showcases you go to, the band gets up, they play, they go out, the A&R or whatever, they listen and nod their heads and whatever. But you're kind of putting them into, like, you're getting to know the person, regardless of music. You're getting to know this girl, this guy, like whatever, who's, yes, they're a performer, but they're a person first, and like get to know their personality and be able to have a meal together that you're cooking, right? And be able to sit down and just have that interpersonal experience together, versus just like, I'm the label or I'm the management, whatever I am, and you're the performer. And it just kind of doesn't really ever feel connected more than, a business transaction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm also afraid. I'm not afraid, but I just am weary of showcasing artists at the event, because I don't want to have favoritism
Mhm.
over some artists over other artists. Or we aren't a label. We are a recording studio, and we are a sync house, but we're not a label, and we don't manage artists. We'll help artists with like marketing and release campaigns if they ask, and they just want, general help as, they're recording with us. We're always like happy to offer any support to our artists if they reach out. Yeah, just I that's just something that if anybody has any ideas, let me know, cuz I don't know how to go about showcasing, if I had like an all day, if I did like an all day festival, and anybody who wanted to come could sign up, and it was like a MooseCat festival, that would probably be something that I would do. But with the networking event, I wanted it to be that, yeah, people could communicate with each other, and the band wasn't so blaring loud that like you couldn't have a
Mhm.
conversation and like get to know that this artist is about to release like a new EP or something like that. And it was going viral on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'd be a lot of food to cook if you had the festival, I'm assuming. So
Yes.
keeping it more intimate might be good. But
I'll
if
get a
you
food
if
truck for that one.
yeah, exactly, right. Give them your recipes. But your band, right, Carly in the Universe. That's where I first checked out your social when we were in class, and I was like, I love like the packaging. It's just cool. It's just vibrant colors. You guys just you look like you're having fun. Your videos are interactive, like your YouTube channel. You're talking to the camera. You're the whole crowd. You have your fans and friends and everyone there. Like, it's just it just seems like a fun experience. And the name's also obviously very intriguing. Like, can you tell or talk about the origins of the name and the story? Yeah, like how you all came together, creative, you're snack loving, it says, right? And what people can like sort of expect from this whole sonic universe of Carly in the Universe.
It's funny, my bandmates picked the name. We had like a million names that we went through, and they wanted the universe. So it was Carly in the Universe, and that was it. They also didn't want it to be just like the universe. They
Mhm.
wanted it to be Carly and something. And I was like, okay, sure. So I just, a lot of the times, like, our band is a democracy. So we definitely vote on, as we're like writing songs, I'll make sure that every single band member says yes to the song. Otherwise, we won't fully demo it or anything as we're writing. But yeah, the snack loving thing is isn't that everybody? Doesn't everybody
Pretty
love
much,
snacks?
right?
We coined the term troll toll. So
Okay.
if somebody comes into band practice with some good snacks, you can say troll toll and they have to share with everybody whether they want to or not.
Well, that's awesome. So like what like for people listening that like what sort of like even genre or like within the genre and your catalog, like if you had to pick a song that like sort of like someone listening is like, okay, this girl, she sounds fun, like I'm intrigued, I want to hear what song or would you kind of point people to say this is like the best representation of Carly in the universe, and like why would you pick that song to sort of be your calling card, so to speak?
That's a tough question for me to answer because I feel like if I'm just answering that, I'm not collectively again like voting with my band to see what they say and like we all decide on a song together for that question. But right now we have a song "Hey Mister" that was on Fortnite, the video game. So
Mhm.
that song has been doing really well for us, but it's very pop and it's definitely I think we lean into like a few different categories with our catalog. One of them being the indie pop, and then we do have like the soul R&B, and then we do have kind of like a darker R&B hip hop pop kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
it kind of sections itself out for each song. But I would say like my favorite song that we have out, it's probably Rock the Baby. It's just a very nostalgic song, and I felt like I lyrically and sonically delivered what I set out to do. And sometimes with so many people in the room, the song kind of changes in direction with everybody coming in, but with that song it definitely stayed true to what I set out for it to be.
Yeah, like your videos are even fun to watch, like, and I don't mean this like bad, like in a mean way. Like you can watch them with the music, like, and you kind of can still be entertained if that makes sense. Like you guys seem like
Yeah.
you put a lot of thought into the video content as
Yes.
well as the music. Like they're both equally important, unless I'm mistaken. But like that's how it feels when you just check out your YouTube channel or your Instagram. Like you guys are very into being visually pleasing as well as audibly.
Yeah, and I do a lot of the producing and creative directing and editing and storylines for a lot of that stuff. And or at least with my band, like we do play different roles in some of the stuff that we do, so I do handle a lot of the kind of creative and producing of these projects. And sometimes my bandmates don't really know what they're getting into, so we had a music video out called Salvation, and we actually used my parents' doctor's office
Oh,
for that
oh,
music video.
uh-huh.
And my bass player gave birth to my drummer in that music video. And my drummer, Cameron, was so pissed that he was going to have to be near Freddie's crotch for that moment to give birth. And I was like, just trust me, like it'll be funny, like it'll work out. And then we ended up having like a little like release party when that music video came out, and everybody was like hysterically laughing when he got reborn.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I encourage anyone listening, definitely check out your YouTube channel because that's where all the videos and they're just very they're fun, and it's such a basic term, but like they're fun to watch and the songs are good. So you don't feel like you're like, oh gosh, this song sucks, but hey, this guy's really funny, or vice versa. Like, you're putting so much time and effort into both. And I think that that's crucial because you see a lot of people are like, oh, they'll just put a performance of a live show or whatever as the video for the song. And you're kind of taking it back to when videos used to really mean something, when growing up in 90s and you'd see these videos and people are like, okay, these were really important back then. It seems like they've kind of gone away, but I enjoyed that a lot, to see. And of course, I want to see you live. I know, and we'll mention that towards the end that, obviously you're starting to track some new songs or demo out some stuff. But like, so you're a front woman, right? And then, but you're also like head of operations at MooseCat, which seems like a lot on your plate. And sort of when you have to juggle these, like, how do you balance those two worlds? And like, is there things like you learn from being on the stage that you apply to the artists you work with, or things that you learn in the studio, like vice versa, that you can kind of do behind the scenes at the studio from learning off the stage?
Definitely. You know, I am for like my band, like I am our manager, I'm our booking agent. I definitely handle like all the operations for Carly and the Universe as well, like booking our schedule and our writing, and we're having like a listening party November 18th, so you should definitely come if you're around. And we're inviting like a bunch of people like in the music industry and just friends to just come listen to like 10 songs that we've recorded. They're just demos, but we just have no idea what's good, or we have no objective opinion of like what's the hit or what isn't the hit. So we're going to have everybody come and listen and just rate the songs from 1 to 10 anonymously. This is trash, get rid of this one, and or this one's the hit, like, keep this one. We did that last time around. We had a song called Rope. That was number 1 for that time around, and that one has done the best like on YouTube, and so I do think it kind of works to do that. But going back to, being busy, yeah, I'm constantly finding ways to streamline and automate what I'm doing. I definitely have assistants that work for me like remotely all over the world. So I'm able to, delegate a lot of the workflow that I have to make sure that, a lot of our stuff is getting done. And, as I grow, I kind of, I know that, somebody's going to be better at, the social media stuff than I am, and somebody's going to be better at shooting a music video than I am. So I'm always kind of like delegating those tasks and not afraid to I take the time to spell out what I'm looking for in a manual or in my streamlining process to make sure that people who I onboard, understand like the direction that I'm looking to push my projects in, whether it be MooseCat or Carly and the Universe.
Oh no, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, a fine line with anything, but like I sense a theme of like democracy, right? Like, even just you picking a song today that you'd say, oh, this is like the best represents us. You're like, well, I'd have to see. I don't know what my bandmates would think, or we vote on this, or you have friends come over and vote. So it's very communal. It's very, like I said, it's fun, but it's also, you guys are making sure everyone's voice is heard in the room, and it's not like, hey, I'm the singer, or I'm the front woman, like this is my thing, or everyone. Well, maybe not the drummer and the bass player giving birth in the video, but but you basically all have a unified democracy where everyone has an equal say, which I think is huge, because a lot of bands will go either way. It's like, oh, the singer and the guitar player maybe right, so then they take half, and then everyone else splits, the other half. And there's always that weirdness in bands, and obviously bands are set up differently. But to see that even with friends and fans and stuff, you're bringing in people just to get their feedback, which is, I think, really, really cool, really crucial, because you want to make sure you're not just in some insulated bubble, and you're like, oh, what we think is great has to be great, and then you take it out on the stage, and you're like, oh shoot, it's better to kind of like A/B test it, with a smaller group like you're doing, and then bring it to a venue or something to play to a larger crowd, now that you've had some feedback.
Right. I mean, my bandmates are pushing me right now. Like, we have a song that, I was kind of switching between like my head voice and my chest voice, but they just want me to like full on belt the song, which I don't like totally love my timbre like when I'm in that range, but they're like, no, it sounds way better. Like, do it this way. Like, shut up, just do it. I'm like, fine, I did it, and like I don't like it, but they're I'm trusting that they know too, So that's been like a thing too, is you think that you know what's best, but you don't sometimes, especially when it's yourself. So,
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah, yeah, it's a whole different world when you're kinda pushing yourself, you know? And I was gonna ask too, like, maybe it's not the most exciting topic or something for musicians, but it could be a lucrative one, which is licensing. Like, I think most people would assume, "Oh, that's when I go to a movie and I hear a song. Okay, I think that's licensing," and they kinda get an idea. Sync and licensing and they're 2 different roles. Like, do you mind, like, explaining, like, how those roles work, in negotiating, like, a licensing agreement? And obviously, you seem to be the kind of person who will, like, you wanna sit down with someone, talk in person, negotiate, like, contacts you've built over the years, which I'm sure plays a large part into licensing opportunities you get brought or find. But like for someone listening that doesn't really understand how that process works, can you explain that if you can?
so do you mean with artists signing to be represented, or do you mean artists' music getting placed in movies?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you can explain both. I mean, the more the merrier.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously we're not the only company that does sync. There's plenty of companies out there that do it. So, if you're looking to sign with a company, send your music to MooseCat, of course. We do have online a artist submission form that you can fill out, and we'll definitely check out your music. I guess if you want to be a little bit more strategic in who you sign with, somebody that's non exclusive like us is definitely a good place to start. And I always encourage artists too, like, we're non exclusive, but we are an indie vocal music catalog, and that's how we present ourselves in the sync world. So if I were that artist signing to us, make sure that you're not signing to another catalog that does almost the exact same thing that we do, and see if they do more, something that align, like, if you do a lot of like super pop stuff, maybe you want to work with a company that specializes in like pop commercial music to get you in more commercials, because our catalog, we focus a lot more like in show. We do commercials, but a lot of our placements are in show, in video game, and that type of thing. So you can kind of look at a company's last placements and see if they're getting more commercials or more TV shows or more movie trailers, and where your music would fit in that would probably be my best suggestion. And if it, obviously we're not an exclusive. We are, this side of our company is like something that we've been building since 2020. So, we're constantly growing year after year on this side of our business. But, with that said, it's very difficult to get placements for artists. You're competing with all the other catalogs, and you're competing with all of the other artists to get those placements. So I would just be realistic with your expectations of your music. Make sure that you have high quality music recordings. Most of the time, if you're not a producer, engineer, and know the ins and outs of getting a good sound quality, we can hear it, for the most part. So just make sure that has good sound quality, that your lyrics are not too hyper focused about your boyfriend named Jeremy, because it's hard to get placements with stuff like that. Make sure you're writing a song about going home, coming home, being home. I love home, 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 home. Those get placed a lot, or generic lyrical themes about love or travel or relationships, or conquering. That's a good one, like conquering, like triumph, that type of stuff, or I'm the best, or that type of stuff. And then I guess for that, just watch out for the termination clause. Make sure that you can actually get out of the contracts that you're signing. At least with ours, you have like you can just email us, give us 60-day notice, and we'll let you out of the contract, no problem. So just make sure that, other companies maybe aren't pigeonholing you into that type of thing. And then for the other side, From what I know, music supervisors don't totally love artists just hitting them up with their music, and would probably prefer you sign to a catalog because, we tag your music with metadata. So you're in our search engine. So let's say your song does have the lyrical theme of coming home, and somebody sends me a music request that says, hey, like I'm looking for a country rock song about coming home. And if I type in country rock coming home in my search engine, your song will pop up and your song will be on the playlist. It's just also easier for music supervisors to kind of deal with somebody that has a whole catalog than going to one artist directly, unless it is somebody like Beyonce that they're directly looking to license a track from her. But like if they're not, like a lot of shows do use big stuff, but they also do use smaller indie artists and stuff like that. So they will come to us. For anybody that is like looking to start their own sync house or company like ours, make sure that, your contract is good when you're signing your artist. Make sure that you're explaining to them what they're getting into. Sometimes I have artists that call me and the detail that they want to go through the contract, like pin, point by point, is like at that point, you need to get a lawyer to, they're asking me to explain the entire contract to them, but it's like, you should be getting a lawyer to explain this entire contract to you. Like I'm representing my side of the contract.
Right.
You have to get a lawyer if, if you want this stuff to kind of be in your favor or something like that. So that's been kind of eye-opening too, that artists kind of, I don't know if it's artists or general people that just, they want you to explain the ins and outs of the contract, which I will, but I'm going to explain them to my benefit because it's my contract that I'm sending you from my company. So just remember that. And also, if you feel any type of way, remember we have a 60-day clause, and you can always have a lawyer look over it. But then when it goes to, the music supervision stuff, I've spent a lot of time looking up every single TV show, every single movie that's out there, and creating a database of every single person that works on all of these projects. So I have a giant database of everybody, every ad agency, production house, trailer house, music supervisor, from top to bottom. And I'm constantly, updating my database and emailing these people and reaching out and making sure that they have the clients, or have the artists, new artists that we're constantly adding to our catalog. And these people reach out to me with like specific music searches, that they're working on a perfume commercial for Dior, and they need, Dior's like I love Dior, and they want some, whatever lovey music or something.
Uh-huh.
So, that's how I kind of go about, having my relationships with these people. And, some of them I've known a long time. A lot of them come to the parties. A lot of these people have become my good friends. So it's just, make sure you have good data, I guess. If you're trying to start somewhere, that's a good place to start, is putting together a good spreadsheet of data.
Yeah. It's like building your database, building your relationships. Not assuming someone's a lawyer unless they're a lawyer, certain things like that, right? So how about like someone who's listening is like, okay, that's cool, but my world is I want to be a performer, and what do I like? I'm aspiring. It's 2023, almost 2020. It's what do you think an aspiring artist needs to sort of get going in this sort of like ever changing landscape that's the music industry right now, to build a career? Like, is it they need a demo, 5 songs, 3 songs, whatever, the live performance is going, like, what sort of advice would you give someone on the performance side?
Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep going. It totally sucks. And you know what? When it sucks, it's going to get even worse. All right. People are going to just tell you how much you suck. People are going to comment on how you look and, not give a shit about the music. Just keep going. Labels are going to hand you contracts and go back and forth with you for months. And then they're just going to say, you know what, I don't know. And then back out. And you're going to play shows to empty rooms, and you're just going to be totally beaten down, but you can't give up. But also, you're not writing enough. If you think you're
Mm.
writing enough, you're not writing enough. You need to write more. Your question of like, should I release like a 3-song EP or a 5-song EP? You need to release like 10 5-song EPs, and you need to have that in the pipeline, and you need to make sure that you're consistently releasing music, because you're a musician. You want to make music. That's what you want to do all day long. Do it. Make all of the music that you need to be making. You're not, I definitely would recommend artists put more time into the creation, and make sure, before, for the songs that I have out now, like we probably wrote like 30 songs before we picked like the best ones that we were going to release. We, like, as far as my band goes, we trash so many songs because they're trash. Every song that you write isn't going to be good, and like, make sure that you put your ego aside, and you know that you want this to be the best that it can be, and it's okay if it isn't. If I were to go back and like look at my first show, or like some of my first songs, cringe, but that's, you have to suck. Everybody knows that you have to suck before you get good. So I would just, yeah, keep writing, keep going. And then if you're consistently releasing music, then you can figure out, your content and your marketing strategy and your release campaigns, but not until you have the music figured out and that you have like enough of it for, you know, year after year.
Yeah, consistency, right? But just the catalog, don't stop, keep it going as much as you can get out there. You keep writing. You'll find better and better songs in there. Like you said, you'll throw a lot away, but you'll find things you didn't probably even know you had in you. So, like, speaking of the future, like how does MooseCat, do you see like the future of like recording? There's AI, there's like the industry, all these ever changing, like aspects of music. How do you see MooseCat fitting into just the future and evolving?
So at MooseCat, we specialize in vintage analog gear, and we do like a mix of like a hybrid sound of analog and digital. So for people like us and what we're doing, a lot of artists want, whether it's AI, whether it's just, in the box with whatever you're creating, they do want like a hybrid mix of the old and the new to warm and fully round out the sound that they're creating with us. As far as like AI making new music and stuff, like, go ahead. It's not what people are looking for, when they're going to listen to music. They're not looking to listen to a robot. They're looking to listen to a human that's gone through the same like human experience and the human condition. So I'm not, I definitely think there's going to be great places for AI, and I'm into it streamlining certain parts of my business and making it easier for me to maybe grab data online for me to do my networking. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to maybe it helping create like a, if Mike is in there, creating all the vocal edits, and AI can do that in 2 seconds, and then he can go back in and actually clean it up after it's done like a first edit. That would be great. Like, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to like streamline their process in that way? But for AI to like fully create and release a song, bye.
Yeah, that's not good. I don't see it either. I mean, again, like, yeah, if you can streamline little like tasks that are just tedious and time consuming, great. But like you said, that's the sort of like analogy, analog warm. That's what I've always remember whenever someone says, "Oh, my setup is analog." You always think warm, and those things, the human, just the feel for someone to track an instrument, you're not going to be able to have that be replaced with a computer, so like you said, chest voice, head voice, all these things that humans need to do that I don't see being affected at all in that world. But yeah, maybe like there'll be some cool plugins and things that for software that can help enhance guitar tracks or whatever, but who knows, right?
Also, I mean, I would say, it's maybe more like the genres of music that we have coming into our studio that I can say that more for, but like, other genres like EDM or dubstep or like even techno, like probably AI, could work a lot more like with those type of genres for like the rave scene or, I maybe they, I don't want to say like every single genre, but maybe for that type of stuff, AI can come up with some cool stuff, I'll swipe through it, give it a double tap, whatever. But I like people.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So speaking of people, where are people listening now? Where's the best place for them to like follow, connect with you? I'll include these all into the show notes, but in terms of like your website, MooseCat, Carly and the Universe.
Yeah, MooseCatRecording.com. You can check out Mike's credit reel and all the artists that we've had in the studio as of late. We also have before and afters of mixing and mastering, so you can hear the difference. Sign up for our newsletters and stuff, and we can give you an invite to like our industry events and stuff that we have going on. And then, if you're an artist, feel free to submit your music and I'll get to it as soon as I can, okay? And then Carly in the Universe, carlyintheuniverse.com, wherever you like to listen to music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora.
Yeah.
We're on it.
Yeah.
Apple Music.
I highly recommend the YouTube channel because, like I said, you have to see the video as well because that's where you really get the personality of everyone in the band. They all have very cool, distinct looks, and I think you see they're having a good time. Their music's good, but it's also fun. The recording, the videos, it's just a whole package. It just makes you feel like you just forget about your problems and just enjoy what you're all doing. So I totally enjoyed our time today. Like I said, we've never met in person, but just getting to know you over this time here has been awesome. And I think you had some really amazing information to share with people that are listening. They're like, maybe they want a career in music and they want to figure out how to get into it. Maybe they're not musical, but they can certainly be entrepreneurial. And I think you've shared so much great advice for both sides. So I appreciate you taking the time today again.
Thank you
To
for
just
so much for having me.
No, it's been awesome. I can't wait to see you guys play live, come to one of your listening parties and, continue our friendship. But thank you again, Carly, for your time today. MooseCat Recording and Carly and the Universe are the two projects, businesses that you have going on, and everyone go check them out and have a great rest of your day. But thank you for taking the time, to do the podcast.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Experience Curve. Please take the time to share this podcast with a friend or colleague to help get the word out about my show.